Time for our relationship segment, and I have here the man who, I mean, look, whenever we're talking about the relationship segment, I mean, there are several wonderful people who come through here, and Bernie is one of them, Reverend Bernie Oseidia, and he's not just a counselor, look, he's a CX HR performance consultant, and he's a life coach, also a business coach. Before he's a counselor, the big man pass. Hi, Bernie.
Hi, Afioko. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming through. Now, today we're talking about something that I find to be a very important conversation: infidelity, but not just how to prevent it, how to forgive your partner. No, how do you recover from infidelity? We're not talking about whether it's wrong or right. We're not talking, it's happening. And unfortunately, every other couple you speak to, be it a steady relationship, marriage or not, you hear something about infidelity. Now, it bothers me, and I know a lot of people, that when infidelity pops up, for a lot of people these days, the next instinct is to walk away. But I'm just wondering, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers are, is there a way to recover from infidelity? Can a couple recover from infidelity? And if so, how?
All right. So once again, thank you for having me. And it's always great to be back here. With regards to your question, it's a big yes. Because anything that has a beginning has an end.
Okay.
Whatever started can also end. And whatever breaks is repairable. For me, there's only one thing in life that you can never get back, and that's when you die. If there is no miracle to resurrect you, we're sending you straight to the grave, and that's it. But as long as you are alive, there is hope, and anything is recoverable. It might not be easy, but it's doable. So yes, you can. And to do this, I always say that the first thing to always consider is the causal effects. What caused the infidelity?
Okay.
It's ideal that we don't dip our heads in the soil, but we look at it practically and in reality.
So as couples, you need to be honest with each
Exactly.
other, look at the problems,
Yes.
and the things that probably caused the infidelity
Exactly.
in the first place.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I mean, speaking through causes, one of it could be frustrations. When you deal with a problem and you've made attempts to solve it over and over again, and you're not seeing anything different, you start looking for options. And these are some of the reasons why people look away, or they try to look for, other alternatives.
Okay.
Find out what these problems are. I mean, recently I had opportunity through some of my counseling work to meet a couple. The husband has been raising some issues. They've been married for over 10 years. The husband has been raising a couple of issues. It looks like the woman is indifferent. When the man makes the attempt to talk about it, she will sit quietly, not say anything, wakes up and walk away. This has continued over the years. So gradually, this gentleman started seeing that, okay, this woman is not interested in building a family with me or wanting to continue what we have. So he started also looking elsewhere, so that, it's like he's cushioning himself to prepare for walking away. So that the day he walks away, he's already got something on the side. Exactly. And this could be some of the reasons. And that's why I always tell that if you want to recover, then go back and deal with the issues that are being raised. And we must be honest with ourselves. I think that, forgive my French, the most foolish character to have in any relationship is someone who is not, or who could be lying to themselves, and they will never embrace the truth or the reality. People want to hear things sometimes that are not real, and it doesn't solve anything. We live in a real world. Relationships are real. A lot of people's emotions and investments are in there. And when you're dealing with issues that must be recovered or regained to be restored, then it's ideal that the first thing is to work on what the issues are. So I would always say that first, sit down, have a proper sit down, and dialogue through what are the issues. What is it that is making me or you have these challenges? Okay. And when you've been able to, outline them, start tackling them one at a time. How do we There are some of the solutions that will come from within. Some of the solutions that will be external.
Okay.
If you need to involve counselors, if you need to involve, if like professionals. So by professionals, I'm talking to psychologists, and so on and so forth, therapists and so on. It's unfortunate once again, out here, we're not very cognizant with some of these people. And everything we do is to look into church. I do a lot of, pastoral counseling.
You're a reverend.
Yes, I do that a lot. But I'm saying that not everything can be fixed by the pastor. The pastor, if they can, must be someone who is also qualified and have the knowledge, the skill set in handling some of these things.
Okay.
I think many relationships have been on the bedrock, and it's been rocked by virtue of the fact that people sometimes talk through some of the relationships and they don't have an idea of the impact, professionally, what they are creating in those homes. I think that if you're a pastor and you also need to get into counseling, be certified for it, learn about it, and then you can know how to apply it. The Bible is great. It has so much wisdom. But beyond that, there is wisdom from the Bible that also enables the use of professionals that can be able to help us through some of these challenges.
You're preaching.
Oh, my word.
You're preaching. So I just want us to highlight a few of the things. You mentioned that, one of the key things for recovery is going back to look at some of the frustrations that caused or may have caused the infidelity in the first place. In your experience, what are some of the frustrations that tend to pop up in relationships when you assess some of these things that have happened?
One could be, I think I mentioned one earlier on. Let me just buttress a bit from there. Listen, when your spouse begins to lift issues, don't sweep it under the carpet and don't take it for granted. Because it
no matter how small it may be.
No matter how small, no matter how, talk about it. Don't make even the person feel like, this is nothing. Why are you having or making a big deal out of? No, it's a concern for your partner and it must concern you. So for me, the first thing is when the issues are raised, really have a sit down about it. It's always critical. Now, aside of dealing with the issues, there are also people who feel undervalued or disrespected to some extent. When people esteem others higher than their spouses, people respect their pastors more than their husbands. People will do, a lot of great things for friends out there that they do for their wives, and these things can harm a lot. When I can go out with you and I see how possibly you spend, with friends, but when you come home, you come and put 50 CDs, 100 CDs on the table, or for those that might be well-to-do, you put a couple of hundreds on the table. These things, people can read into it, and it's ideal that
meanwhile you're spending thousands, or your friend lost his mother.
And then you spread the table,
buy tables.
Exactly. Do you understand? People do these things, and quite recently I saw a post on social media how wives call husbands when they bought akoma, and when you give a certain amount, they call you sugar and honey, and those that give 10 CDs and below, they call you ojam. So they've got names for all that. But on a more serious note, we must be able to understand that taking care of your home is ideal. And when you don't do these things, but your partner is saying how much you spend out there, there are women who are working women. They would never contribute to anything at home. They would never contribute to, the upkeep of the home. But they would always be out there buying stuff, wigs and
the
things.
Best
and
dresses, the best hair, the nicest shoes.
And
women, stop it all. It says, stop it. Stop it. The married women who are working, contribute to your home. It's important. Even
our married ones that are in relationships, and it's ideal that these things play out well. So I think for me, that is one very critical element that must be considered. Now, aside of the fact that, that your partner need to be valued, and when these things are not there, they start looking away. The satisfaction, sometimes sexually. Listen, no matter how green, blue, or gray you might be, when you get into it, then get into it. Many of us might have gotten married virgins, practically. But it doesn't mean you must stay it. What kind of idiocy is about you want to look innocent? Chief, you are there. you know, if they are squeezing you like corned beef, let it be. I
Take
mean,
it.
yeah, and learn other tricks in the book. Do you understand? I mean, some couples don't have any excitement in making love. It's the same style, the same place, the same, you know, the light must be off. I go this way, you touch that direction. And then they meet someone on the street who gives them one thing. It is like, damn, there are good things out there.
A whole factory.
Charlie,
of
there's a factory
experience.
of things. And the person talks to you about what they can do to you and do for you. Suddenly, I was like, nah, Charlie, the grass is green on the other side. Let me check it. And you see, this is what is ideal for people to remember, that when you fail to up your game, someone is waiting next door to make it happen for your partner. And if you are in there
when
with
you
them,
fail to up your game, someone is waiting next door to make it happen for your partner.
of course, I mean, it's the truth. Do you understand? And it's very ideal that anyone who is in any relationship is work. And you must both work towards nurturing it. And it's ideal that as couples, we understand that. I mean, recently, I got on a platform where we're sharing about what will make the marriage tick and so on and so forth. And I was saying that, listen, sometimes, I think I even said this here last week, women wait for the men to always make the advances, but there are so many things that a woman can do to even keep the relationship up and going. And one of it, I always say, and if you're a lady, you are in a relationship, please listen to me. If you can make money, even if you're not making money, from the money that the guy or the gentleman gives to you, save some. Take your man out. Pay for it. Drive there, bought trotro, get an Uber, pay for it. In fact, even if he makes the attempt, block that attempt. Let him understand that I want to take care of this. I want to spoil you. I might not have enough, but from the little, I want to do something to let you know that I appreciate you. This thing to work, and that's good for men. You can't always be taking, and take me out. It's my birthday. Oh, no. Do you understand? And when you put the person in that situation and someone on the other side shows them something different, they give them options. And these are some of the things that threatens, you know, the conditions we're talking about.
Okay, so we have a few messages here. Kwame James on Facebook says, infidelity, serious or city, you do all. And then Lydia from Tishie Estate says, this is a very insightful conversation. Thank you, Bernie. So Bernie, we don't have much time left, but let's just look at key things that we need to do and focus on. We've already spoken about revisiting the frustrations that may have led to the infidelity. Key things we need to focus on to be able to recover when infidelity unfortunately happens.
Okay, so one of the big thing is counseling. See, it's very ideal, and as a pastor, I can tell you that in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. Whether spiritual counseling from a pastor or professional counseling from a therapist, you know, it's ideal that you understand that you are in a certain level where you need to recall so many things in your mind and in your emotions. So counseling becomes a very key element of how you can recover. Beyond that also, you need to consider the economic impact of infidelity. All right? Because to keep 2-3 relationships is no joke. To even keep one has economic impact. And you need to really look at the cost-benefit analysis here. I know it might sound like maybe big brothel, but it's simple. It's just saying that, hey, listen, you could actually be losing more, you know, than you are gaining at the end of the day.
People are building houses while they are cheating.
Of course, I'm telling you.
And
the guys or the girls out there are not joking. If you bring yourself, they will put you in your size. And they will make sure that before you enjoy something, they also get something better out of it. So think about the economic impact. Most importantly, I always say think about the shame. What happens? There are people that have been caught up, you know, being on social media. What are the impact on your children at their schools when people are discussing this thing? So these are all things that you know really need to consider. So in effect, one of the things is the big decision. Listen, make the choice and the decision. This is from your principles and values as a person. And you know, shortly I did some work in Tanzania for Zain before they became Airtel. And during my stay there, I stayed in a beach hotel they call Kunduchi. I think I was bored in the hotel, so some of the managers got together to send me out. So you know, they put me on this beautiful beach hotel, pleasant place. Now in the conversation, one of them said that I'll keep myself so beautiful that my husband will not look at another woman. So, but that was quite shocking. So I turned and asked her, does your beauty make other women ugly? It doesn't. You see, it's one thing to be beautiful and glamorous and so on and so forth. But you see, beauty can get you through the door, but what will keep that door open is attitude. Work on this thing. I think if you need to have this man or this woman back, these attitudes that must be fixed, must be.
Okay.
The way you speak, the way you handle. This is very important and this is very critical. Listen, you can train a skill, but you can never train an attitude. And it's ideal that as an individual, understand that I need to work on me to make me more attractive. And these are some of the things that I really think if you want that person to come in, have a restoration, to have a recovery, work around the atmosphere around you and people will be able to walk.
Okay, so let me just run through. You mentioned revisiting the frustrations that caused the infidelity in the first place. Going for counseling, understand that you need someone to help you get through it, to recover as a couple from the infidelity. And
change
then thirdly, change your attitude. The attitude that may have led your partner to go out or even led you to go out.
And one of it could be unforgiveness.
Unforgiveness.
You know, yes, you can't forget about it. There's nothing like forgive and forget. You can forgive, but you remember. That's why we've got memories. But you need to be able to understand that we can get this going, I need to also be able to forgive you. Okay. And maybe the final thing is, I'm telling you, prayer works. I'm telling you, prayer works. I've never spoken about prayer or any spiritual thing, but I'm telling you, prayer does magic. Get on your knees. It's called neology. It changes things. You see, prayer don't only change things. Prayer changes people. And it's ideal when you understand what prayer can do for you. Some of the battles you fight and explaining yourself, you don't need it. Just get into the neology corner. Have an altar in your home. Make things happen. I'm telling you. Man's heart is... Charlie, people meet things on the road and they want to come back. Finally, the day the leg of a billy goat gets broken, it will find a way to the owner's house. So sometimes all people need is a broken leg, and God knows how to organize that, and they'll be coming back home. Okay,
so sometimes infidelity can be a blessing. You never know.
Oh yeah.
You sit down, you look at all the things that are wrong, and then you move forward together. Bernie, thank you so much. You have a few messages. I'll read them very quickly. Felix Suarez from Facebook says, this discussion is really good. I'm enjoying it. And then Gilbert, watching from Cove Town, says, thumbs up, Bernie. Please, do you do private counseling? So at this point, I'll ask you, how do we get in touch with you, Bernie?
0500 200 944. Yes, I do private counseling. You can call or WhatsApp that number. The office will be able to connect with you. Next week, I'm in the office from Tuesday to Friday, all the way through from 2 o'clock up to 6 in the afternoons next week.
Okay, so Gilbert, pay attention to that. And anyone else who would like to see Bernie for this counseling that we're speaking about. And lastly, Sechua says, I attest to what Rev is saying. Certain petty things kill emotions. Okay, so... people are agreeing with you. So Reverend Bernie Asaidia, thank you so much for joining us today. And ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking about how to recover as a couple from infidelity. And our guest today was Reverend Bernie Asaidia. He's no stranger to this show. He's a CX, HR, performance consultant, and coach. He's also a counselor, so many different things. And we thank you for coming through. And I hope that you learned something. If you're dealing with infidelity in your relationship, in your home, I hope you have the tools you need now to recover as a couple.